Hi, everyone. It's Lynn from Devine Central. And today I want to talk to you about doing a Celtic cross, but in reverse. Now, this isn't something that you would do on a normal basis or, with a client. It's more of a practice spread that you might do just to gain better insights in your ability to read, maybe a little bit of self-discovery if it's for something personal. It's just something to do different. I'm going to go through two spreads. The first one, I've had some issues. I'm in a shop, right? And there's been a little bit of drama, within the mall, and so my question, I think, let me see here. The question that I'm asking for this is, what can I expect next week? Because a few things kind of blew up last week. So as we go into next week, I want to see what's going to happen, right? So let me switch cameras for you and we'll lay out some cards. Okay, so I'm going to lay out a few cards here. Let's go ahead and lay out ooh, that's a nice start for what's going to happen next week. Okay. All right, let me just lay this spread out. This, of course, is our cross. And then we will lay out, well, I'm going to go ahead. I don't usually turn them up when I read, but since this is a different kind of reading, I'm going to go ahead and turn these up. And we're going to see, because since we start at the back anyway, right? Right. All right. So I guess I'm looking at the back doesn't help me, does it? So let's start at the end. Okay. The outcome. This is kind of like the known reality now. Temperance is what? It's a card of peaceful coexistence, right? It's avoiding extremes. It's blending of opposite, forces. So it would suggest that by the end of next week, that whatever drama has been occurring is probably subsided. The chaos will give way to maybe a sense of calm. And the question won't be what will happen, but maybe how did everyone get to this place of peace, right? So the rest of the cards tell that story. Now, the advice for me, again, this is my layout of the Celtic Cross, my positions. My card number 9 is advice. And this is what's leading up to the outcome. And I got the Empress here. So that could be the final deciding factor, right? So the final piece of advice that led to this harmony where, everybody got along was embodied by the Empress. So that's a card of nurturing and creativity, and we get abundance from her. So in context of, the mall drama, this suggests that maybe someone, if not everyone, had to stop reacting and start creating a positive atmosphere. Okay. So maybe that was the suggestion is everybody stop that and start getting along. Okay, so position number 8, which is the environment over which we have no control, right? And that's influenced by the advice, right? Okay, is the sun. And of course, this is our social context. So if the sun is pure joy and clarity, right, and success, then maybe an influx of foot traffic, bringing in new customers and a lot of, money. Everybody did really well, next week. And so maybe that was the ideal environment that the Empress suggested. And that energy took hold and put everybody in a better mood. Okay, number 7 for me is how can you sabotage your situation or what should you not do, right? Okay, this is what led to the environment. And I got the 6 of Wands, and that's it can be kind of an inner compass. So this is a very crucial point. And the 6 of Wands is, I mean, it's a card of victory, right? It's a card of harmony restored with the 6, but it's being recognized. It's a public victory. It's being a public figure. So in this position and in this context, it tells us that maybe, someone who won a small battle in the drama didn't rub it into everybody else's face, right? They didn't take a victory lap. And had they done so, well, they probably would have reignited all the drama and the crap that was going on and prevented the sun's energy from taking hold. Now, the clarity came from someone choosing not to seek personal glory here. Okay, what not to do. Okay. So as we work our way backward, my card number 5 is the energy that's coming in. And this is created or has created what not to do, right? And we get the Queen of Wands here. This is our intended path. So the energy coming in that allowed this wisdom was the Queen of Wands. She's charismatic. She's a confident character in this whole thing. But she's also a leader who knows how to inspire others. And her energy coming in would suggest that, well, maybe someone new came onto the scene to help manage the situation. There was a shift in perspective. That could have been. And hopefully, maybe that perspective was from management's side. The energy really isn't about who wins with the Six of Wands here. I don't know, the energy says, let's just all work together and build build a collective success, right? Okay, that's what that could be. Okay, that's position number 6. Position number 5, this is what's on your mind, literally, right? What's on your mind? We get the Hierophant, a major player again. Okay. And we can see that he's the master of tradition, right? He's about conformity. He's about doing things in a specific way. People were thinking, geez, we've got contractual obligations that are being thrown in our face right now. So, how can we work within that structure and still resolve our grievances? Well, being open to solutions created that mental shift where the collaborative effort of the Queen of Wands, could be welcomed in, so that brought that in. Okay, so card number 4 for me is this is the energy that's leaving. Okay, that's what created the change of, or what was on your mind was this energy that was leaving. And we get the Ten of Wands here. And this is a card of heavy burden, isn't it? I don't know, it's just it's like they were carrying the weight of all the drama, the malicious gossip, the backstabbing. It was this collective fatigue and the realization that the burden was too heavy to bear, that, I don't know, it made everyone just start craving some structure and some order that the Hierophant can bring. The burden had to be dropped, though, before the new mindset could be adopted. All right, so coming back around now, we're down to position number 3, which to me is the foundation. And this is what has created the energy that's leaving, right? Right. So for me, it's the Two of Cups. Now, at the very foundation of this entire situation, we have the Two of Cups. This is supposed to be a partnership, a connection. This is supposed to be a deep, bond or tie between two people. So despite the drama, there was, I don't know, some kind of a fundamental bond between the businesses and management. So the relationships were there all along. I mean, we had to be, right? We have to work together. The drama was so exhausting because it was a betrayal of the basic connection between these two factions. And the burden of the Ten of Wands was so heavy precisely because it was the hurting that the partnerships and friendships that were, the true foundation of them all. This is where it all came from. All right. So we have the two, our position 2, which is our crossing card. This is the obstacle for me in mine. And we have the Eight of Pentacles, right? How can you have a conflict with that? That's a pretty nice card. Well, the obstacle that crossed this foundational partnership here, it's a card of meticulous work and craftsmanship and repetition in some cases. In this position, it wasn't a help, but it was a hindrance. So, because the obstacle was the people becoming so focused on their own needs and their own wants and their own profits, right? That they forgot to nurture each other, right? Because we all have to work together. And we weren't. It was a single-minded focus on everybody's own, businesses that created the disconnect or the wall, and that's what crossed that mutual bond for us. Finally, we come to number one. The whole point of this thing is the Ace of Pentacles, right? This is the initiator of the whole thing. And this is where the story really begins because, at the start of all of this, the collective energy was the Ace of Pentacles. New opportunities, new business ventures, new starts, abundance, everybody wanting their shops to be successful. Okay. New business ventures. The drama at the mall was born out of a moment of new beginnings or maybe new businesses coming in, and fresh ambitions clashing with, the old guard, the people that have been there for a while. The very thing that brought everyone there, the pursuit of a new opportunity, really became the seed of conflict for the whole thing. Isn't that sad? So, what can we expect next week? Well, no more drama, right? You can expect peace and balance from Temperance. And because the story shows that everyone was really exhausted by the conflict and a new collective energy of community was already taking hold. So, bottom line is the drama isn't the story in this reading. The return to balance is. Does that make sense? Okay, let's try another one. Okay, so let's lay another one. This time it's going to be a real simple question. It's going to be, will I get the job? Okay, we start with the Fool. Okay, we have the heart, the Four of Cups, the Three of Cups. Ooh, we have the Death card. King of Wands, Ten of Pentacles, Seven of Swords. Okay, Seven of Swords. King of Cups with the Emperor. What's our last card? Oh, ooh. Outcome card looks interesting. Okay. Will I get the job? Okay, we're going to go in reverse here, right? This again is something that you could do. You could ask the question, lay it out, set it aside on a table somewhere, and then wait until the event happens and then come back and see if it progressed like you thought it would. Okay, be a great idea. Oh, and by the way, if you like this video, please click it now because that's how people find me. All right, so we're going to start here with the final outcome, which is the Nine of Cups. Now, this is a card of basically emotional fulfillment, right? It's having all your wishes granted. In some cases, that's how we look at that. Okay? So the story we're now deconstructing is one of profound satisfaction at the end of the day, isn't it? The central question for this reverse reading now becomes, how did I get here? And what was the path to this deep sense of fulfillment? Okay, something a little heavier that we can play with, if you like to really delve into these things. Okay, so the advice card for me, this would be the Emperor. Now, the crucial advice that led to this outcome was to embody the Emperor. Okay. The narrative is now that your emotional satisfaction was not just a stroke of luck. It was achieved through discipline and action and control and commitment to structure. This is everything that the Emperor brings to us. Now, you didn't just receive your wish. I mean, you actually earned it by establishing a solid foundation and taking charge of your circumstances, creating your own path, creating your own goal. The emotional reward of the Nine of Cups was a direct result of the strategic, methodical approach of the Emperor. Can you see that? All right. So card number 8, our environment over which we have no control. We have the King of Cards. I keep saying that with this deck. We have the King of Cups. All right. So the King of Cups represents emotional maturity and calm, really. This is an environment where compassion and understanding and support is available. You were not alone in this struggle. There was an external source of emotional stability or a person who provided wise, non-judgmental support for you. Could have been that. This environment allowed you to be decisive about your situation without being harsh, or, overly, controlling or assertive. So you had a good environment around you. I think people liked you, wanted to support you, and wanted to root you on. So how can you sabotage the situation? What should you not be doing? Well, we got the Seven of Swords. Now, to achieve the stable environment of the King of Cups, right, you consciously chose not to engage in the energy that the Seven of Swords, can bring. It's sneaky, it's shortcuts, it's being deceitful. You avoided actions that would betray trust and to involve underhanded tactics. The path to the compassionate environment was one of integrity. So you knew that you could not get support that you needed if you were going to be dishonest about the situation. So that woke you up to that. Okay, card number 6, we have the 10 of Pentacles. The energy that enabled this integrity was the 10 of Pentacles. And it represents a focus on long-term security, on family legacy, maybe a sense of shared abundance. Everybody together is doing well. You weren't thinking about your own personal fleeting gain. A new energy emphasized the importance of community and lasting value, okay, which made any deceptive shortcuts seem unappealing and counterproductive, right? Okay, so that helped it. All right. So for the 5, the card number 5, we have, which is what's on your mind, we have the King of Wands. Now, the thoughts on your mind that drew in this new long-term focus were those of the King of Wands. Now, he is a very charismatic leader. He's a passionate visionary, if you will, I guess. He's somebody who inspires others, and he's very action-oriented. And that mindset led you on to think beyond the immediate and focus more on building something long-lasting, which, brought you into the 10 of Pentacles. Okay, so what brought you here, right? What brought you to wanting to assume that vision and take that action? Well, it was the card number, see, 4. Yeah, card number, I had to look at that. Card number 4. This is the energy that's leaving, and it's the Death card. So to become that visionary King of Wands, something had to end, right? Something in your life had to end. You had to release something that was outdated or move on from some cycle that just wasn't working for you anymore. This radical change was the essential first step toward embracing, I don't know, a new way of being, a new vision maybe that you had. And I see as it having to do with the previous job, really. You had to break free from something that wasn't working. Okay, so the foundation, card number 3, we get the 3 of Cups. Oh my gosh. At the very foundation of this entire journey, there was already a sense of community with the 3 Cups. The story started at a place of friendship and collaboration. So I think people really want you to have this job. I think you might even know people within this community that you're heading toward because you're getting so much outside support from it. Okay. It was this connection that ultimately made such an impact on your decision and your actions to move forward on this job interview. So we come to card number 2. We have the 4 of Cups, and this is our obstacle. And the obstacle that crossed this joyful foundation, again, is the 4 of Cups. And this is all about apathy and emotional boredom, and in this particular case, disengagement. So despite the friendship, You began to feel detached or uninspired about something. And I think it was due to your desire for advancement. And so you're holding out for what you wanted. That's what that's about. So, yeah, this card can be about, oh, I'm bored. I don't like my life. I'm not interested in anything new. Or it could just be, you know what? I'm not taking the next thing that comes along. I'm holding out for what I really want. And, that can be an obstacle because sometimes what you really want doesn't come to you immediately, right? But I think there were a whole host of people that, were not only there guiding you, but rooting you on for success. And that gave you the gumption to, cross that hurdle and really, shoot for the job you really wanted. So we come to the last card, we come to the Fool. And this is where the story began, right? It all started with the Fool. You were stepping into some new adventure. You had willingness to take that leap. And it was made enjoyable by the initial support of your friends, as you see in the Three of Cups, and then eventually in the King of Cups. So the narrative is complete. The journey started with a sense of optimism. You hit a wall of emotional apathy for a while, but forcing you to make a radical change in not just your situation, but your thinking about it and what you wanted and stepping into what you wanted and looking at the long term and making sure that your integrity matched with what your goal was, right? Which is getting what you wanted. Can't get any simpler than that, right? It's kind of an odd way to approach the situation, right? But I just wanted to show you that it can help you. And I think that this spread would be more helpful, seriously, as pulling cards on a question about an event or a situation coming up or a concern you have, but something where there's going to be a finite ending, that you can come back to the cards and see not only how it progressed forward, but how you can back out of it. Because if you don't read the spread before the event happens, you can start at the end and work your way back. And I think that in some cases that can be very insightful. Anyway, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. That's how people find me. I've got all kinds of things on my Etsy shop. I'll put it all down below, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye-bye.